Welcome to the Rude Dog Show. This is Rudy Reyes. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. I am your gracious host, and I do appreciate each one of you for tuning in to the Rude Dog Show. So thank you, everybody, and good afternoon to you, no matter where you are at. Look, do me a favor. Would you download the free WBLZ Sports app? Pretty please. It's located in the Google Play Store. You can find it on iTunes. No, I'm not begging. I'm just asking really, really nice. Just really nice. It is for your listening enjoyment after all. Don't you want to tune in? If not, you should be. I am Facebook Live. Feel free to interact with me here as well as calling in to the Gen Service Hotline at 216-539-9967. That number again, 216-539-9967. So thank you for tuning in. Call in. Let me know if you have any questions about what we're talking about today. And that is the Cavaliers basically on the brink of beating the Boston Celtics into submission after their one and only win by the Celtics the other day. Now, what's interesting about this is that when you look at the Boston Celtics and the way yesterday's events unfolded, it was at a variety of points that they had led, but for a very minimal amount of time. That is the scariest thing when you go and you find yourself at an 8-point lead, a 3-point lead, a 2-point lead, a 12-point lead, and you find yourself wondering, okay, how long is this going to last? Am I doing the job I'm designed to do? Am I taking care of the ball, passing it, giving it to the right people at the right time when I need to get it to them? Was it working? Well, it was for the Celtics, but very sporadically against the Cavaliers. And when you think of the amount of time and wondering if you were the Celtics, were the Cavaliers going to break it open? When were they going to break it open? How often and how soon would you see the break? Now, you haven't really heard much of Kyrie Irving. Everybody tried to not really make as much of a big deal about Kyrie Irving, and in all fairness, until now, he's just been a role player. He's just been a role player. Yes, he made some clutch shots here and there, but not, I'd like to think that Kyrie Irving had literally stepped on the toes of the defenders and quashed the comeback that would be the Celtics. Was it despite an apparent ankle roll in the third quarter? Well, maybe. That didn't stop him scoring 19 points in, well, less than 5 minutes. So as you can imagine, it was to a fault something that he had done in the regular season, had really shown up in the regular season, but Kyrie Irving just did not let that ankle roll really stop him from penetrating, keeping would-be defenders frozen, as in turning the time machine all over again in order to really step back in time and see the Kyrie Irving of old. In a 5-minute span, which would probably take you as much time as it would from here to your mailbox if you have one of those, overall, he finalized his own dominance by scoring 42 points. Kyrie Irving had been waiting for such a game like this to arrive. He has certainly arrived in these playoffs. Would you agree or not agree? 216-539-9967. And after this half of the segment, we're going to try to get Brian Metzer back on the line to go over the recap of the Penguins Senators yesterday. I said a collapse. He disagreed, but we'll see what happens. But sticking with the NBA, despite that injury, he's just been waiting for a game like this to really be what it is, and that's exactly what he did. I believe Kyrie Irving dribbled around defenders as if they were stuck on the floor. I mean, his step-back jumpers, the way he was able to fake the output assist in order to get the shot on the outside to basically taking it to the hole. Something I was extremely impressed with, his dynamics, what he brings to the court, how he's able to do everything that he needed to do in that game right. I believe that when you look at Kyrie Irving and you look at the types of things that he has done, and by no means someone should take what he has done lightly. Nobody should take what he's done lightly. He's a great guy, and he's an even better player and a really solid teammate, and that's something that the Cleveland Cavaliers were needing. One of the reasons why LeBron James had basically wanted him as a part of that roster, along with J.R. Smith and Kevin Love and basically everybody else that makes sense to be in the starting role. Kyrie Irving deservedly belonged in that role. What's impressive enough was that Irving was 15 for 22 in the field for field goal range. I believe that that outside fake was a narrative. It was the epitome of what Kyrie Irving had done the entire game. Not the series, the entire game. He was able to show that he is a guy to go to whenever you want points, whenever things are needed, whenever you value the guy any more than he possibly could. Kyrie Irving is the guy that you certainly valued and entrusted. And I look at those 6 layups and 2 3-pointers to be something not really a mystery, but I look at it as being something that's just a part of his game overall. I don't know what possessed him. I don't know what it was that took him to another level, but feel free to chime in, 216-539-9967. This segment sponsored by SeatGiant.com. If you want the best experience, not just tickets, go to SeatGiant.com. It can get you what you need for any event you are looking to go to. Those 2 3-pointers and a free throw in a mind-numbing span of 4 minutes and 48 seconds isn't something to balk at. He has not done that since, well, sometime during the regular season, and even more so during last year's postseason run that led to a championship for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, what's even more interesting, and I don't get into celebratory things, and you could probably easily get away with it in the NBA than you can the NFL. Of course, the NFL is lightening up on their celebrations. Who knew that was going to happen? But they probably took a model from the NBA and said, all right, we're going to be the minimal fun league. Well, let's see what happens there. NBA certainly proving that when you have a guy who's leaving the court to meet his teammates, taking his fingers and pointing them up as if there were some type of 6 guns and blowing them off and putting out his side, that was fantastic. That was a celebration that was not worth a penalty. Again, this is not the NFL, but the NBA. They certainly love that. The crowd loves it. The fans love it. Everybody loves it. It seems to be something that, as a part of a justification for the types of play and the time that he's had on the floor during the game, is certainly something that you can look back at and say, you know what, this was appropriate. This was needed. This is something that they had taken with them for a very long period of time and continue to carry that esque of, we are better than you, but we're taking our time to make it to where you know that we are better than you. Not just what everybody else is thinking, what everybody else is saying, it's what we believe is going to happen. And I think that destiny may seal their fate as they use this as another bye week. No, this isn't the NFL. Gosh, the comparison to the NFL today, I'm telling you, but this is a solid comparison to a bye week in the NFL where you're just not playing. You're sitting on the sidelines, you're sitting at home, you're sitting on the couch, eating potato chips or whatever it is that you're doing, maybe working out, maybe scheduled workouts, maybe some pool time, or maybe even a sauna. But look, bottom line is, NBA, much more fun to watch when there are technicals given for stupid plays. And these guys aren't committing them. I mean, in the finals, I understand if you're a referee, you have to let these guys play. I get it. I understand it. Don't penalize someone because they're celebrating. It'd be different if this is a physical altercation. You could throw people out for that. That's not a problem. But a celebration by putting your guns to your side is certainly something to look out for. And I think the wheels fell off at that point for the Celtics when you see a guy by the name of Kyrie Irving who had not done it in the postseason the way that he did. I think it was a mental fallback for the Celtics. I seen a video of the Celtics entering a practice. And, of course, and it never fails, Mr. Lou calling into the show. Welcome to the Rude Dog Show. This is Rudy Reyes. Are you with me? I have some technical problems. Give me a call back in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. I don't know what happened there. I think I do know. All right. Well, maybe that's it. I don't know. We'll see if he calls in. If he does, then we're in good favor. If he doesn't call in, then, well, it's unfortunate. It's bad that he could not call in. But we'll see what we can do here. So, the Celtics comeback over the Cavaliers isn't something that I actually seen happening in this particular game. Why? Because the lead changes were relatively consistent. The problem is that they didn't get it to the right players at the right times, and in all fairness, you can't really block LeBron James. Yes, he had a ton of fouls in the first quarter. Yes, you would think that a guy who had that many fouls would sit out a lot sooner than he did, but he played through them for the moment. And then the coach decided to sit him because of all the fouls that he picked up. But I think that at that point, it's almost like a dog. I mean, I don't recommend dog abuse. I'm not even talking about that. But what I'm saying is that it's almost like a whipped dog. You know that the dog is whipped, but yet you keep pressing your luck. Oh,
okay,
welcome.
I'm here.
Welcome to the Rudy Show. Lou, are you there?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah.
And it never fails, Lou, when you call into the show, because for some reason, I kind of know it's you. It's not bad. I just know it's you.
Okay.
So thank you for calling in. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So when you watched that game yesterday, Lou.
I did.
All right. Give me your take on the game.
Go ahead. Let me have it. Go ahead.
Cavaliers are going to sweep the Celtics. I wish it was a true sweep, but it's not. Because the Celtics won one game, technically that is not a sweep.
Right.
But when you beat the other team consistently, what's going to happen? It feels as if it was a sweep. I mean, 112 to 99? 99, you didn't even hit the 100 marker. You're 13 points away from being the team that you want to be. What's the problem with the Boston Celtics? What is your take on that?
I guess Cleveland turned out to be more stronger than we thought. And the only reason why they said that Cleveland lost Game 3 is LeBron got sick during the game. Well, first of all, if he was sick, he should not play at all. Because that would just screw up even more. They say it's a kind of a bug. Well, whatever the bug was, he showed it over in a hurry.
Well,
and Boston just looked flat.
Yeah, I don't know about the bug thing. I mean, look, how many times does a professional athlete who knows what he's putting in his body, like LeBron James, how often is it that he's sick, that he claims the virus bug, or maybe he had something bad to, maybe some bad sushi or something. I mean, don't you know what to eat and what not to eat if you're a professional in any given sport, the NFL, NBA, or even in the NHL?
Yeah. Well, it's happened 3 times as far as I know.
Well,
Jordan,
you as a player know that you cannot continue to put things in your body that you know have either gotten you sick before or made you feel a little queasy before or whatever the circumstances was surrounding that. So, needless to say, it was like whipping a dog against the Celtics yesterday, as there were so many viable components. And even with the foul letting with 11 points by LeBron James, certainly didn't stop the surging Cavaliers, who essentially could end up winning their third Eastern Conference title tomorrow in Boston at TD Garden, and then face off for the very third time against the Golden State Warriors to finish up their sweep of the San Antonio Spurs, who are busy picking up the pieces, wondering what's going to happen with Manu Ginobili.
Do you think he's going to call it quits, or do you think I think you mentioned it yesterday, but do you think he's going to call it quits, or is he going to go one more year?
Manu Ginobili surprises me because when you think that he plays a quiet role, when you think that he's going to sit back and be the hush-hush guy, he just comes out and proves you wrong. But look, Father Time will get you. It will grab up your neck, sneak up behind you, and pull you down. And I think that based on Manu Ginobili, he has nothing left to prove. He doesn't have to prove anything to anybody. He's done it. He's done it. He's been the sixth man, two-time, all-time, third-team NBA. He's a four-time champion. I mean, there's really nothing left for him to prove. So if he was to go out quietly, so be it. And in all fairness, what you don't want to do, and this happens to a lot of players in all major sports, is they think they have it. Other people saying, yeah, you know what, they're behind you, they're pushing you, but then the realization happens when you're playing and it's in the middle of the season. You're thinking to yourself, I am not playing to my standard. I am not playing to a way that I feel will be effective for the team. As a matter of fact, I feel like I'm a detriment. But they don't. No one gives them the reality. A lot of people that's if you're a superstar, case in point, if you're Ben Roethlisberger and you have people around you, or you can use Martavis Bryant, you could use Odell Beckham, who signed a ridiculous shoe contract, but you can surround all these guys and you can say you can fluff their pillows and not give them the reality of saying, look, man, your time is up. Your time is up. You have nothing left to prove. You been there, done that. You don't need anything further than what you have right now. So why bother going back, putting yourself going through the same rigorous physical activities, the eating, the exercises, the OTAs, the D-League, the practice. Why go through all of that if you are physically, and you've checked yourself a numerous amount of times, why would you even want to think about coming back? But to your point, Manu Ginobili will not come back next year.
Some people don't know the meaning of the word quit, and they figure, I'm going to go one more year. You know, I think I can do it. You know, their heart says, their heart says one thing, but I think their body is always trying to tell them something else.
Well, and then again, at that point, you have to listen to your body. You have to listen to your physicality and have the mental and physicality connected together to say, you know what, I think I'm done. I think I'm good. And there are a lot of players that have done that. A lot of players that have done that.
Yes.
But those that have continued to make a comeback are even those that have done, stupid things. Case in point, Pete Rose is still not in the Hall of Fame. Why? Because Major League Baseball will continue to blackball him based on the violations that he committed against not only Major League Baseball, but to the Cincinnati Reds themselves. However, you can allow criteria to be softened up with guys who have been, who've utilized steroids in the past. So the bottom line is that if you're going to use drugs, if you're going to use performance-enhancing destroyers, as I like to call them, because that's really what they are, then what you're doing is you're ruining your ability to get back to play at the level you're physically being able to play at, but feel the need to take the drugs. So at that point, you need to really think about it, again, knowing what you're putting in your body, knowing what you should put in your body, and not bother with it and move on. And so, you know what? I'm retiring. My name is good, right? Your name is good in whatever sport you happen to be playing in. You're a champion X amount of times over, and so on and so forth. But when it comes to Manu Ginobili, who's done it honestly, who's done it rigorously, year in and year out for so many years with the San Antonio Spurs, needs to just call it a day and let lame dogs fly. Because the minute you start coming back, you end up tainting your image, tainting what other people may have thought about you, thought of you, thought that you would make a better decision than the one that you did. So Manu Ginobili should not come back at all next year. You got to know when to say when. I mean, the guy's not getting any younger, and every single day, the more time that he plays on the court, the more your body breaks down, knee joints and shoulders. Look, a good example of that is Kobe Bryant, who knew when to say when and left the game, at least to some degree. Of course, he'll always be connected to basketball no matter what. One of the greats, one of my top three greats in NBA history. We had this conversation before, Lou. And so that's something that Manu Ginobili also needs to take into account is I need to confer with my family, confer with my closest of friends, confer with myself, check myself. Am I ready? Can I truly, honestly get this done? I don't think he can, and that's why he should retire.
Okay.
So
I want to bring up.
Go ahead.
I want to bring up another. You heard about the NFL reducing their overtime from 15 minutes to 10 minutes. Somehow, I don't think that's going to solve the problem. Because last year there were 2 ties in the league, and I think that they're saying that it might even create more.
What kind of problems is the NFL having? I mean, what are they? What's the issue?
Yeah, the NFL is reducing the overtime period from 15 minutes to 10 minutes. But I don't think that's going to result in more wins. It just might result in more ties. Now they're saying that it's to protect the players from getting injury after trying to handle a 75-minute game if it goes the full 15.
Well, see, here's the issue that I have with that rule, along with taking the ball from the 20 to the 25 for an extra point, is that what you're doing is that you're making things that much more competitive. As a team, they practice 2-minute drills consistently. If you're any player in the NFL, whether it's special teams, your offense, defense, you have to be. It's going to make you more competitive. You have limited time. If you take the 15 and you stick it back to 10, that puts your team in an automatic 2-minute drill without question. But you have to be legitimate to think that putting it at 10 to 15 means that they have to score sooner than later, but not leaving the team with another clock roll in order to get down to the other end of the field, because a field goal won't do it if the other team makes a touchdown. So 10 minutes, I don't follow with 10 minutes. Give me 10 minutes. Give me 10 minutes. Put me under center. Give me 10 minutes, and I will make something happen. Even if it is a field goal, and milking the clock is the only way to get it done, because you know that the defense is way too stiff, way too tight. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So I don't see a problem with it. I don't have an issue with it at all. I think it's good for the league. I think it's good for the league.
Like you're saying, with shorter time, that's going to give the opponents lesser team to try to make that chance to score.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
why not?
Now I see the logic behind it.
Well, yeah, you have to. Look, somehow, some way, you have to be able to change the game in such a way that's going to benefit more fans. Look, the NFL is all about viewership, okay? Period. If you get people sitting on their couch eating bonbons and drinking Bud Light, and you have 10 minutes, you're going to hurry up in the restroom, hopefully wash your hands, get back to the couch, sit down, and watch the game, because there's only 3:23 left on the clock. And it's a game winner, and it's going to be the difference between your team sitting on the sidelines or sitting on the couch or sitting at home or sitting on the sidelines in a game time situation heading into the playoffs. So I like it. I like the move. I don't know about the ball being sent back to the 25-yard line for an extra point, but again, it's about the competitive nature. The NFL is about viewership, and unless you put something more thrilling on the table, you could lose viewers. And the NFL is not about losing viewers. They're all about the viewers, the sponsors, and the teams. Period.
Yeah, my point exactly. Yeah, it's my point exactly.
So, let's get back to this Boston thing, because there's still a bit more that I want to talk about with the Celtics and the Cavaliers, and we can go on to the NHL playoffs as it be in the second half of the show. Look, I expect the Boston Celtics as a group to create the unity which has brought them to the brink of possibly failing during the playoffs, despite the wins, despite everything they did during the regular season. The ones who will not be participating in Thursday's game will be sitting on the sidelines doing everything they can. That's Isaiah Thomas, in order to help be the rah-rah. They're the boosters, if you will, from a chair. Because look, even though the chips may be down, they are not out of it. They are still involved in the process. Don't allow a 3-1 lead by the Cavaliers to affect your mindset. You're in there for a reason. You know what you have to do. You know what you have to get done. It's just a matter of execution, putting the ball in the right player's hands at the right time to make the plays. I think the Boston Celtics, just like they did yesterday, giving them the opportunity to take the lead. If you can create lead changes, you can be on something fantastic if you get the balls in the right hands of the right people. So, but in all fairness, the likelihood of the Celtics be able to make this a series at this point, because I think that mentally they're already strapped into the ideal of, well, maybe next year, we'll have a good run next year. And I think it's highly improbable. I mean, it doesn't mean they won't try to throw everything at the Cavaliers, and, well, including the kitchen sink.
Right.
Marcus Smart, Avery Bradley must have a stellar game. After all, I mean, they're pieces of the puzzle that have helped them get here to this point. But in all reality, defending world champion Cavaliers can prove to give and insert one more narrative, one more notch in their belt buckle by beating the Celtics tomorrow night, and that is a mention of a possible dynasty building in Cleveland. However, as good as it sounds and you're a Cavaliers fan, I hope your team recognizes that in the next round they're going to play a very highly viable foe, and that is the Golden State Warriors. Emerging from the ashes could very well be the game plan for the Celtics to get absolutely everyone involved to not only attempt the blocks, which we eluded them by double-teaming LeBron James, which means that you're allowing others to become a part of the process, a part of the solution. In other words, getting yourself beat because you're trying to overguard someone instead of making sure that you're playing. Again, it's like football. If you're playing man zone, you're covering your man for man. And unfortunately, Celtics don't have the type of bench. The depth is not there for them in order to protect and double team LeBron James on a consistent basis. Because look, let's face it, we talked about it before. I'm going to say it again. The Cleveland Cavaliers are way too deep from the bench. The Celtics are not. So it's a matter of bench win, bench points that will take the Cavaliers into the next round, albeit the NBA Finals. Now, a side note here, Kevin Love added 17 points and 17 rebounds and 11 for 1 in the postseason. Avery Bradley contributed for the Celtics at 19. Jay Crowder for Boston had 18 points. And clearly Tyronn Lue had a little chuckle if he wanted to substitute anybody because of substandard performance. He says, no, just be aggressive. Come out. We're in attack mode. He's always in attack mode, and that's something that LeBron James knows how to do. When he knows he needs to, he does it, and that is attack. Attack, attack, attack. Just a little side note, a little tidbit. Deron Williams did play 18 minutes after a shoulder stinger, but really not much of an impact. So I have to take a quick break. Got to pay the bills. But look, if you want your experience, not just tickets, not just a piece of paper, we're not talking a raffle here. Get your tickets from SeatGiant.com. It's hashtag get your experience. If you use RudeDog in your purchasing part of getting your tickets, you'll get something off of those tickets. Go to SeatGiant.com. I'll be right back. This is Rudy Reyes of the RudeDog Show, WBLZSports.com. I'll be right back. Welcome back to the Rudy Dog Show. This is Rudy Reyes. I am on WBLZSports.com, and you can also download the app from Google or iTunes. It's free. And look, this is the other half of the hour I'm on. We put this into overdrive, and we're going to talk Penguins versus Senators, a game that we discovered wasn't going to end in a win on the road for the Penguins. Brian Metzer and myself discussed the Penguins' need yesterday for the Penguins to just get it done. And what's really interesting is that they didn't. Everybody's looking for a win. I was looking for a win. I was hoping they would score early and often. Unfortunately, it didn't happen till the second quarter for the Penguins. But what's really interesting is that more of the opportunities existed for the Senators than it did with 19 shots on goal in the first, where Penguins just had so much more, but wasn't able to capitalize. And of course, when you want it on the opposite end of the ice for the Penguins, the Senators certainly had an answer for them because the Penguins committed penalties or offsides, enabling the Senators to get that puck on the opposite side of the ice. This didn't bode well for the Penguins at all. It seemed that Ottawa had the momentum. They had the home court advantage, if you will, yesterday. And even though, they didn't have to have a full stadium. Clearly, the Senators didn't care about that. They didn't look at that. They didn't even recognize that as being something that was even viable to them. And what's even more interesting is when you look at the momentum, when you look at the stride for stride, how Ottawa really went, slice of the ice, stride for stride with the Penguins, and even had less shots on goal, just makes you wonder, how many times is it going to take? Who was guarding, who was in the net? Matt Murray was in there. Unfortunately, he did not get the win. But when you're not the home team and you strike first, that says a lot about your resilience. It says a lot about you as a team. This wasn't a high-scoring affair by any stretch of the imagination. It wasn't going to be because it was on the road. Penguins historically not great on the road in the sense of making it 7-5 or 7-2. It was at home that they went 7-3. So when I look at the Penguins and I look at this road loss, I think it was doomed to happen. And me and Brian Metzer were talking about yesterday. I was trying to get him on the show today, unfortunately not able to do so. He is one busy guy ramping up for a decisive Game 7. But I like the fact that the opportunities were there for the Penguins. Unfortunately, nothing fell in the net like you would suspect had in the regular season. Pittsburgh 46-17 and 10. Ottawa Senators 41-24 and 8. And of course, when you think of Matt Murray, he had one save in the game. Unfortunately, during the shootout, they basically scored 2 in the shootout, and they get the win. I mean, look, when you look at the Penguins, the Street had 1 assist. I mean, look, it wasn't a blowout. Okay, Brian, I agree with you. It was not a blowout. No. It wasn't an insurmountable lead that they could not come back from. But the way that they were playing, though, the way the Penguins were not, they were finding opportunities. There were so many shots on goal for these guys. I mean, Bonino had 6, Cole had 2, Ruel had 2, Kudus had 2, Corrado had 1, Dumoulin with 2, Kuhnhackl with 1. But there's so many guys, a laundry list of guys. Unfortunately, Bonino's the only one with the goal, which is kind of something that he's done all season long, systematically taking teams out because of the type of aggressive play that he's been a part of. But look, there's so many more things going on with a lot of these skaters for the Hoffman with the 1 goal. And then you had Turris with the assist for the Senators. There's so many things that you want to look at for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Murray's average, and it's not Murray's fault. It was not Murray's fault. We'll talk about the Crosby mugging in a second. I call it the mugging because that's really what it was. It was a mugging on ice. This isn't a special event, ladies and gentlemen. This is a mugging of one of the best to currently be playing in an NHL playoff game, and that's Sidney Crosby getting mugged on the ice. Yeah, we'll talk about in just a minute. Okay, hold on a second here. Anthony Moretta chimed in. He said, I thought you were pro-Celtic. There's more time, M-O-O-R-E, to talk about the winners of the series later. By the way, people were fighting to be the better monster. Celtics fans, a new era? A few? Well, I don't... I'm not pro-Celtic. I'm pro-underdog. Let's make sure we get that right.
That's
I'm pro-underdog. I want the guy who plays his best with the best around him to win the game. I am not pro-Celtic by any stretch of the imagination. I'm not pro-anything. I'm a fan of the Steelers. Everybody knows that. This isn't like a big secret here. Okay? It's just, I've been to Steeler games. I get it. But when my team stinks, they stink. I'm not afraid to call it like it is. I will point out people and the faults of those individuals from my perspective, from my thought process. So, a fan in a new era? No. When you're talking about the way people were fighting to be the better monster on the court, yeah, you know what? Good question, Anthony. Were there more team loyalists there in the stadium? They have a chance to be there tomorrow at TD Garden. Let's see what they can do. Let's see if they can raise the bar. Let's see if the Celtics can fight them even better than they have ever. Why? Because their season depends on it. Period. No questions, no ifs, no ands, no but. If they can get this going, guess what's going to happen? They will make a stretch, they will make a run, and should not allow the Cavaliers to come back in it. Not even plausible. Not plausible at all. Not at all. So, Matt Murray of the Pittsburgh Penguins had a very good save percentage at 96.7%. That's all right, Anthony. Look, it's a bad deal. I like Pittsburgh, but that game against New England in the AFC Championship game was definitely the Pits. So, good chiming on that one. They'll have Martavis Bryant back in the lineup sooner than later. I'm not really worried about one of the number one offenses in the AFC. Yes, I said that out loud in advance, so make sure you take note of that, Anthony. So, Pittsburgh Penguins, Murray getting it done. He had 29 saves total. Look, he did his job. It was effective. Okay? Again, this is not a 3-1, 4-1, 2-1, 5-1, 5-2, 6-3. No, not at all. This was a very close game, which makes it very, very competitive. Did the Penguins pull it out when they needed to? No. Should they have? Yes. Will they do a better job at home, where you have a better record at home than they do on the road? Yes, they will. They will make it known. They will make sure that you know that they are on your tail. Literally. And I don't mean the Penguin tail. I know they have tails, but they're going to be on the tails of the Ottawa Senators, right? Because in the first part of this game, they had 10 shots on goal, 12 in the second, 3 in the eighth, and I think that was a downfall right there when you only have 8 shots on goal in the third, and in overtime had 5. I think that if you added 12 or 13 to that, there are more opportunities, giving you more chances to score, to find that puck in the net, which have ultimately sent this to overtime at 2-2. And then you go to the shootout, and then you find out what your goalie is made of and who's handling the puck with the stick. Ottawa Senators had 8 in the first, 12 in the second, 9 in the third. You see the differential there? 9 in the third with 1 in overtime with 30 shots on goal. So what that means is it had nothing to do with Matt Murray, so don't blame Matt Murray, okay? The guy came through last year. He did what he needed to do. His first start ever in a finals. He did what he needed to do. He performed to his maximum capacity as a rookie goalie. A rookie. Who was a saving grace for the Steelers as a rookie when Maddox got hurt? Wait, I'm waiting. That was Ben Roethlisberger. Okay, so we can move on from there. Look, I look for the Penguins to do much better at home. Much better at home. close this series out while the Nashville Predators are sitting there waiting in the wing. Yes, there was a pun intended there, wing, because it's hockey and that's what they do. Nashville Predators, they're waiting. They're hurrying up. They're sitting down. They're making you wonder and scratching their own head saying, well, who are we going to play? Well, it doesn't matter. You can have all the ice time, use your practices, eat some popcorn. I'm sure you guys are watching the game right about now, Nashville Predators, because this is your first appearance. Will I say it ever? I don't know about that. I think there's something to be said for the Nashville Predators and the way that they have been playing. I talked about it yesterday on the show and how they're getting it to basically everybody that they need to, but to hold off on the ticker tape parade in Nashville because it is far from over. And I'm talking to the fans. It's far from over. So don't count your chickens before they hatch. Pittsburgh Penguins, from a statistical standpoint, 1 for 3, 21 hits, 23 faceoffs, 2 Senators, 42. Again, the opportunities on the other side of the ice for the Senators because of unnecessary penalties that were called by the refs. Now, were they necessary? I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm not a referee. I wasn't at the ice. I wasn't at the game. And that's a long way to go to Canada, eh? Long way to Canada.
There we go.
So giveaways 9 were for the Penguins, 15 for the Senators, 7 takeaways for the Penguins, as well as 4 for the Senators. Shots blocked were 14. Senators had 18, which I think that was the bigger difference because when you have more shots on goal or you have more blocked for those shots on goal, that means you have a higher percentile of being better defensively at the net, preventing the other team from scoring that goal. So I like the play-by-play for Doc Emmerich. I'm going to throw him a bone here because Doc Emmerich, one of the best at calling the NHL, reminds me of last year's. He's so fast. He's so quick. I mean, that guy must go through water and Gatorade like it's no one's business, but he's really good at what he does. So props to Doc Emmerich. I look forward to hearing him in the NHL finals. So as it goes here...
So he's really Kenny Albert.
I like Kenny Albert. Don't get me wrong. He calls he called a good game. Me and Kenny Albert follow one another. I'm always trying to get him on the show, but he's always busy. The guy does NFL. Really? Yeah, he always does NFL. And just for those that are listening, I could have Sinbad back on Monday talking some Cavaliers as well. And the game winner. And I see the game winner by LeBron James, or at least somewhere in that capacity, as they take on the Boston Celtics tomorrow at TD Garden. But Patrick Hornquist, going back to this particular game, he received a 2-minute penalty for slashing. Then Bobby Ryan, this was a back and forth, and it was almost like an instantaneous thing at 10:29, 6:05, and 5:01. Ottawa just, I don't know, look, again, this is not a blowout game by any stretch of the imagination. I don't see any reason at all why the Penguins can't get it done. I really don't, because of all the talent. The lines need to play and step up when they need to. I think there's a lot to be desired when you're talking about the Senators and those players for them. Carlson being a highlight for the Senators. And everybody really turning it up. Tourists has been, there's been a tourist sighting. Kelly, Burrows, Methode. And of course, everybody wants to talk about Carlson. Carlson being one of the highlights for the Ottawa Senators. And he is, and he should be. He is a solid player on a very solid team. And what's really interesting about the Ottawa Senators that I didn't see them even in the semis. I didn't see them in the semis at all. I didn't even think about them even coming close to where they're at right now. But you know what? I'll be honest with you. They're good. They're really good. Anthony chimed in again. Best wrestler in the division. NHL negated 2 goals in overtime scheme. They did negate them. They're talking about there was some interference, a goalie interference. I don't know. The goalie is the one who stays in his zone. He handles his stick. He lays his body out in multiple directions. He must take yoga or something. I don't know. But I think that whole goalie interference situation, shouldn't it shouldn't even stood, because that would have given Pittsburgh a 2-0, and then Ottawa would have obviously it came back to hit it on a 2-all situation. But that mugging of Sidney Crosby down on the other end of the ice by the Ottawa Senators is something that the NHL should look into. There should be no way, shape, or form you allow this to continue. Referees need to get it done. Okay, well, so and maybe it did. Maybe it did. Like I said, I wasn't there. I think there was a possible stick that could have made that light go on. Maybe a hand, maybe a glove. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But that mugging by the Senators, and I showed, there was a hand that was shoved over Sidney Crosby's face, and he was mugged. He was practically mugged on that end, but they didn't call it. The refs were all over that game. They call goal interference. You have a referee at that end of the ice, don't you? Mm-hmm. Why can't you see that somebody on the other team is getting mugged? It would have been called. It should have been called either way. The NHL needs to look at this. Player safety also needs to look at this. And it's ridiculous that I've yet to see anything by the NHL in regards to the mugging on Sidney Crosby. That guy, look, I understand this is a very tough game, very physical game. But at the end of your time, you got to be who you are, and you have to recognize that your play will be scrutinized. Your style of play will be scrutinized. The way that you play is scrutinized. And if you get penalized over something you didn't do, that also needs to be scrutinized as well. That play is certainly not scrutinized as I would suspect that it should have been. So NHL needs to look at that one. And
yeah, I think you're right.
I believe when you look at this game overall, I think the Penguins will close it out. I believe in, and of course, Sullivan with the very same message for these guys is don't let this, affect you personally. Don't let it affect you professionally. Do what you've been doing. Do what got you here. Do what got you here, and I think that you'll be just fine. And that message is relatively rampant throughout these NBA finals as well as the NHL playoffs. And you're right, Anthony. He was assaulted. He was mugged. He was mugged. If I was him, I would have thrown my helmet off and probably tore the guy up if I was an NHL player and I got mugged like that. But again, penalty wasn't called. Something that needs to be looked at. Something that certainly has to be under the NHL radar as far as video review, video play. And to put another parallel against the NHL and the NFL is send those calls that you would make to referees in the locale, send it to your home base, send it to the NHL office directly. Have a direct line with them. Let them look at the play. Let them review the play so that way you can get confirmation. And so what if it's longer time on the guys? Who cares? You want to get the call right, don't you? NFL thinks the very same way. We want to get the call right. Major League Baseball, same thing, especially Major League Baseball. They're the ones that called New York, home office. We're not talking about crying here. We're talking about getting the call right. There's no crying in baseball either. There's no crying in the NFL unless you lose in the Super Bowl. One word comes to mind, Cam Newton. Anyway, everybody, I am about out of time. Thank you for your input. Thank you, Anthony, Manetta. Good questions coming. And I'm working on sponsors right now. I can't let the cat out of the bag, but just keep in mind I'm on the verge of something big here. So you sports fans will need to stay tuned. Want to stay tuned? Yeah, Lou, that means you. You want to stay tuned for that because there'll be some sports trivia. I got a brand new bag. I'm just waiting to bust it out. So,
okay, anyway. James Brown.
I'm not calling myself James Brown. Trust me.
Good.
I don't have those types of. I don't have that kind of money. Anyway, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Make sure that you tune in tomorrow. We'll be talking, obviously, sports. Well, you'll have to find out and tune in what it is. Make sure you download the WBLZ Sports app, and it's on iTunes or Google, whatever your poison is picked. You can go there and pick that up. Now, don't forget, If you want the experience, go to SeatGiant.com. Get the experience that you need. Go check out Anthony Gilbert, new-game-plan.com. Looking at switching things up with a Division One clientele list that he is trying to fill. If you are a D1 player and you want it filled, you want the representation, shoot me an email and I'll forward that on. Or you can email him yourself at anthony.gilbert@new-game-plan.com. Yeah, Tyler, he did. Cavaliers, Kyrie put on a show. He was slinging basketballs, not bullets, basketballs. But you know what? For him, they were just as dangerous as a bullet. Anyway, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This is Rudy Reyes on the Rude Dog Show at WBLZ Sports. Lou, thank you for the call.
My
As
pleasure.
always. Anyway, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This is Rudy Reyes on the Rude Dog Show at WBLZSports.com. I'll see you tomorrow.